Vegas Scoreboard Express, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 6 on AM 1400 KSHP North Las Vegas. Online at KSHP.com.
You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network.
More fire, more heat. This mix is moved.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball.
And there it is. It's time to wake up, guys. 6:05 on Sunday. JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express, waking you up live. 107.1 FM, KSHP, VSX Digital Sports Networks. That's right. Turn it up loud. Talking about that NFL division lineups today. Preseason bets that you can put in for the division winners. Got a lineup today. Some special guests. Want to give a shout out to my main man, Ron. Third Down Best Bets off today. He earned it. Gave him a day off. Let him recover, get himself where he wants to be, and you guys can get yourself where you want to be right here at Vegas Scoreboard Express every Saturday and Sunday morning, 6 to 7 a.m. Pacific time, 9 to 10 a.m. on the East Coast. We know we have a lot of East Coast listeners out there, but we're going to jump right into it this morning. Got him on the line with me, my main man, Mark Hayes. He is the station director and program director here, but he's also a football expert. Played at UNLV, had a couple of stints in a few NFL camps, so the man knows what he is talking about, and we're going to be breaking down the division leaders and possible winners of that AFC South division this morning. Good morning, Mark. I know you're out of town. You just said you're still working, man. This guy's a grinder. He's making KSHP what it is, guys. You guys want to get behind this station, all you advertisers out there for this fall sports season, be sure to reach out to us at KSHP.com, and we'll be able to get you where you want to be. But I got him on the line with us right now, Mark. So, Mark, again, jumping into this AFC South. It has been a long summer of summer basketball, baseball, but now we're finally getting back to that NFL season. Got the preseason starting up on August the 3rd. So let's go ahead and jump into it, man. The AFC South. Now, before we go into the rotation numbers, again, say hello to the fans. I know you're out there on the road. They're probably waiting for you to come back and do the shopping show. He's not here today, folks. He's not here, okay? He needs to get out on the road and make it happen. But go ahead, Mark.
Hey, JB. How you doing, man? You know, anytime I can jump on with you and your listeners, I'm here. I'm just have my water, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's get into this AFC South. It's a very interesting division.
It is an interesting division, and you guys can be sure to catch these games over on our partners at Footboat TV. That's right. Go to FootboatTV.com/JB. I've got NFL Network, NFL Red Zone, CBS, Fox Sports. You will not miss an NFL game this season, a pro football game, no matter what division it is, even CFL, as long as you get that Fubo TV. So let's jump into it. Rotation number 1201, the Jacksonville Jaguars have already changed coaches 2 seasons ago. Got Doug Peterson down there. Haven't heard a lot about them in the offseason. You still got Trevor Lawrence kicking around, but they're making news for things that are what we do not talk about on my show. All money, all sports, no bull. Let's jump into it. Minus 160. These guys are favored to win this division, and I'm just not seeing how. I know they made it to the playoffs last year, squawk in by the skin of their teeth, if you will. But this year, I'm just not seeing it, man. There's just a lot of changes going on in that organization, and I just don't feel that they have put enough together to win a division that still has the Tennessee Titans and a strong Indianapolis Colts team coming back. But go ahead, your thoughts. Jacksonville, minus 160. Is that a bet that you would tell the folks to take?
You know, like I said, you're the expert in betting and how to bet. What I want to do and talk about real quick with the Jacksonville Jaguars, this team, they have gotten behind Trevor Lawrence. This guy, last year, he was in the top 10 in passing. They went out and re-signed Ingram, who's a tight end. They also have Christian Kirk coming back. They didn't make no noise in the offseason because they didn't have to make a lot of changes, JB.
Great point.
This team is already pretty stout in what they do. Only thing and only change that they made, and I think this is going to be a helpful change on offense, is they brought in Calvin Ridley from Atlanta. We know this guy. He got into a little bit of trouble gambling.
Yeah, you know how that goes.
You put him, he's just doing a little gambling. He was trying to
tuning into JB during the end season. You can't do that. You know, I talk to you guys only in the off season. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think Trevor Lawrence is a franchise quarterback. I think they have surrounded him with some really good offensive weapons. Their defense is solid. I think this team has what it takes. If we go back to rewind our clock from last year and look at this team, they had an opportunity to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, who went on to win the Super Bowl.
They actually did. It was a very shocking thing.
Opportunity.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it was a closer game than we thought it would be, and I think that has a lot to do with coaching and Doug Peterson being a part of that Andy Reid tree. Good point. Minus 160. Talk a little bit about that defense. That's where I've been a little bit shaky with the Jaguars over the past couple of years since they did that debacle in the AFC Championship game, robbed them with that pass interference with the Saints many seasons ago. But again, jumping back into this Jaguars defense, do you think they're going to be able to step up on that side of the ball? Because that's why they lost the game to Kansas City. Go ahead.
I think their defense is solid. They didn't go out and get a lot of parts. They did bring in a couple of free agents. I think that they needed to secure up their secondary, in which they did. They had a lot of guys that were trying to get some chemistry, JB. When you start thinking about the NFL and chemistry, that's what it comes down to. They drafted a great defensive end out of Florida. They drafted a couple of young guys this year, but I think the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is going to be solid again this year. They weren't. The reason that they lost that Kansas City Chiefs game, if we go back, the reason they got into the playoffs was because of that defense. And when they played, we remember the playoff game before that, that defense really came to play against the San Diego Chargers there in the second half.
Yes.
And shutting down Herbert. And so that defense, with that offense, I really think this team can win this division again as we get into these other three teams. They were 9-8 last year when they were supposed to be the last in that division. They wasn't supposed to be the first in that division. They ended up winning the first, being the first seed in that division, getting into the playoffs for the first time since 2018, JB. We go back to 2018, what you were talking about. This team hadn't even been in the playoffs, and now this team is primed to be. I got to tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this team go into the playoffs with another extra year of experience. The Jacksonville Jaguars will be in those playoffs again this upcoming season because of Trevor Lawrence and what they put around him.
Talking to my main man, Mark Hayes. You guys can check him out on the Radio Shopping Show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Early in the morning, check out those replays, KSHP.com. He's telling you that the Jaguars are a possible pick at minus 160, rotation number 1201. Now let's move down to another team that a lot of folks have been talking about in the offseason due to the draft. A little bit of quarterback changes, picked up an excellent free agent in DeAndre Hopkins. Talking about the Tennessee Titans, rotation number 1202. This is where the value jumps into the line at plus 330. This is the team that I think is going to be poised to compete for this division championship, just simply because they also haven't made too many changes on the offensive side of the ball. Picked up a few rookies, but they're looking to find weapons for Tannehill. Go ahead.
Yeah, I really think the Tennessee Titans are a disappointment this year, and I think they'll also be a disappointment. As long as Tannehill is the starting quarterback, I don't think he has what it takes to lead that team. They did pick up Will Levis in the second round, which was a surprise because last year they took Malik Lewis in the third round. And so now you got them trying to find their identity. They don't have an identity right now. I don't think Tannehill is that guy to get them into the playoffs or even win in over 9 games. You know, this team started off, JB, they were 7-3.
Mm-hmm.
7-3, and they lost 7 games in a row. Tannehill gets hurt. Malik Lewis comes in, plays the final 2 games, looks like a rookie, and then they go out and draft Will Levis in the second round from Kentucky. Mark my words, on this day, I'm telling you this, I think Will Levis will be the starting quarterback come week 2, week 3 of the NFL season. Tannehill will go to 3rd string. Malik Lewis will be 2nd string. Will Levis, if he can lead this team to a 500 record, that'll be a success because they have had a lot of pieces. Love the coach, but they have had a lot of missing pieces And you still got the King. You still got King Henry, but you can't. I'm going to stack 8 in the box, 9 in box on King Henry, and I'm going to beg Tannehill to throw the ball. I'm going to beg him to throw the ball because I'm going to stack 8 in the box, and I'm not letting Derrick Henry run the ball. And that's their offense. Go through Henry to Tannehill. And with Tannehill, I just don't like his ability to lead a team. He can't win the big game. And I got to tell you, when you put in a rookie, you're going to go through some bumps and bruises. And I think Mike Vrabel knows that. He's going to have to play Will Levis. You pick a guy in the second round and a guy in the third round last year.
Right.
That's not. They're knocking on the door of making a change at quarterback, and I wouldn't be surprised after the preseason he's not the week 3, week 4 starter after Tannehill has a couple of bad games like he's capable of doing.
I'm going to have to find a prop bet on that to let the bettors know. You heard it here first. Mark Hayes, KSHP Station Director, giving you the grease for the Tennessee Titans. AFC South is the division we're going over today. You guys keep it locked in here, KSHP. Vegas Scoreboard Express Live. I'm your host and boss of the Big Board, JB the Ticket. If you're just tuning in, we're going over the AFC South previews for division winners. See if they can put the cash in your pocket. Another team that had a draft that I wasn't really a fan of. I think they spent a lot of money on a project. Rotation number 1203, the Indianapolis Colts at plus 550. I'll tell you right now, I don't like that bet. Plus 550, the Indianapolis Colts. Let's take a look at some of the players that they drafted. They took Anthony Richardson in the first round with the 4th pick. At the cornerback in the second round, pick 44. They took Julius Brents out of Kansas State, picked up a wide receiver, Josh Downs. It was a mix of players that were of good quality, but they waited all the way until the 4th and the 7th rounds to pick up some offensive tackle help, bringing in some guys for camp essentially to try to figure out who's going to essentially start at quarterback. When I looked at what the Colts have done over the last 4 or 5 seasons since Andrew Luck retired due to injury and the issues that he's had, that round robin at quarterback has been a disaster. They had Phillip Rivers trying to bring in various guys. Do you think Anthony Richardson is the answer? We know he didn't play a lot at Florida, but again, highlight reel tape in draft camps, in workouts, he was just too talented in those settings to pass up. You talk about Will Levis possibly starting early in the season. Do you think Anthony Richardson would be a shot for the Indianapolis Colts? And again, this rotation number, Indianapolis Colts, to win the division. Rotation number 1203 at plus 550. Could put some cash in your pocket, but there are a lot of changes up in Indy. Go ahead.
Yeah, another good thing. I'm glad you brought up that point. Indianapolis Colts. Listen to this stat. They were 4-12 last year, right? 4-12. They won 4 games. Not sure how they won 4 games. They've had 4 different starting quarterbacks in 4 years. We start off. They had Phillip Rivers. They went down to Carson Wentz. They had last year Matt Ryan, and this year they have Gardner Minshew. Think about that. They're going to be starting quarterback. You got Anthony Richards and then Sam Ehlinger. All right, so their quarterback situation is probably at the worst quarterback situation in the National Football League. And this team will not win. They will not win more than 2 or 3 games with Gardner Minshew. Anthony Richardson, like you just mentioned, that was a reach. They reached for him at number 4, and he is not NFL ready. I think he's athletically ready, but he only played 1 full year at Florida. A lot of people forget that. This guy played 1 year at Florida. He had a few highlight reels. He was kind of the player from the John Madden. You look at him and he's like, oh, he's fast. He's athletic. He kind of reminded me of a running back.
Right.
He kind of reminded me of a running back playing quarterback.
Right. It's like Darren McFadden that could throw the ball. That's what I was thinking. He ran like Darren McFadden back in the day, but he had an arm and could throw. Other side of the ball, Indianapolis last year, the 4 games they won, 2 of them I did take on the bet line. It was won by defense. And we take a look at what the Indianapolis Colts were able to do on the defensive side of the ball. I'm looking at their draft. 7th round, Jalen Jones out of Texas A&M, cornerback. Titus Leo came out of Wagner, a linebacker. A lot of project pieces. And when you talk about it from that perspective, a quarterback room with 4 or 5 guys sitting in there chomping at the bit trying to start, what do you think they have to do to maintain the defensive side of the ball? Because that was one of the few bright spots for the Colts last year. Go ahead.
Well, their defense has a lot of injuries over the last couple of years, and that's been a big problem. Their best player hasn't played a full season in 2 years. So their best player was the kid. I'm losing a blank right now with his name, but
T.Y. Hilton.
This kid,
the receiver,
not Hilton, not on offense. I'm talking on defense. I'm talking about on defense. I want to try to pull up his name here, but he's a defensive. He's a standout. He's a linebacker.
Okay.
And this guy hasn't been healthy. So even on the defensive side of the ball, again, I go back to identity. What is the Colts' identity right now? They don't have an identity. Their defense was supposed to have been kind of pretty good as far as being able to stop the run. They couldn't stop the run. They gave up 243 yards rushing. But when you look at the defensive side of the ball, it's kind of a mirror, JB. If you know what I mean a mirror of the offense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who is the leader on that defense? Who is going to step up and be that defensive presence and somebody to be the guy to be able to take this team to not only the next level, but also be able to say, hey, bingo, we gonna stop you. We gonna protect the end zone. This team when you start giving up 35, 36 touchdowns through the air.
Yeah, their secondary was absolutely terrible. Like I just mentioned, they drafted a lot of corners. I'm looking at the linebackers now. You got Zaire Franklin. You got E.J. Speed, the nose tackle, DeForest Buckner. He's been somewhat of a disappointment over at the Colts. Talking about it from a betting perspective, it doesn't look like we're giving the Indianapolis Colts any grease. If you talk about win totals for this particular team, I'm looking at it maybe 5-6 wins. Do you think that they can possibly get above that? I'm taking a look right now to see how many exact division wins. Talking about in that division. Go ahead.
No, I don't think this team can win over more than 4 games again, and that's just a stretch for me. I'm really being generous. I think this team goes 2-14 with Gardner Minshew at quarterback, and then you have to turn when Gardner Minshew doesn't perform. You have to turn to either Sam Ehlinger out of Texas or Anthony Richardson out of Florida, who has 1 year of experience. I think this team will be back in the top 4 for draft picks in 2024. I think they'll be back in the top 4 because this team cannot get out of their own way. When you have 4 starting quarterbacks, JB, in 4 years, that says a lot about what this team is doing. And I think a lot of it starts with the top, with the ownership. All right. Their owner, he's more interested in being in a band. And,
Jim Irsay.
Around the road. Jim Irsay he's in a band, and I think he just kind of turned over that team to just anybody who wants to run it. One thing I can say about the Colts, and I want to make this point before we go. I know we got to get to our next team.
Mm-hmm.
If Jonathan Taylor is healthy, this team possibly can win 4 games. If he's not healthy and not like himself, this team wins 2 games, and they go 2-14, and they're in the top 4 again next year in 24 with draft picks.
Well, let me tell you some value here over at our partners at BetUS. My main man Mark Hayes dropping grease on the Indianapolis Colts. There's value if they're terrible. Rotation number 1399 all the way up to rotation number 1405. If they win no games, it's plus 4,000. If they win 1 game, it's plus 3,500. If they win 2 games, plus 2,200. But that sweet number that Mark was throwing out there, 4 games, still going to get you paid at plus 450. So we can still find you value for teams that might be a little bit shaky in the regular season. So if the Colts are as bad as you say, take them to not do well over at my friends at BetUS. Again, Mark, thank you so much for stopping by the big board this morning. Bringing you in, bringing it to the fans, bringing grease. Love your analysis. I told you this guy's a football expert when we're here in studio talking football. A lot of money's going to be made here at KSHP. Rounding out the AFC South division, the team that everybody wants to see. Picked up C.J. Stroud with the pick in the NFL draft. Brand new head coach who is an alumni, former player for the Texans. Talking about those Texans, rotation number 1204, plus 725. This is the team that people think are poised to come from the bottom to the top in this division. At plus 725, an interesting bet and a valuable bet if you believe in what C.J. Stroud can do for them. Go ahead.
No, well, Houston, Texas got a lot of work to do. I love the coach. I love him coming there. But C.J. Stroud is another kid. He's kind of a project. He's a project, so he'll have to wait his turn. They got Dave Mills starting, and that's going to be something interesting to see. I think they got a pretty good offensive line, pretty good secondary. I think their defense is going to be their strength. If they can contain the pass and the run, this Houston team could be up there. I think they will move up ahead of the Colts, and they'll move ahead of the Tennessee Titans. It'll be Jacksonville and Houston in the top 2 in that division.
There you go. You heard it here. My main man, Mark Hayes, breaking it down, giving you the grease. Texans should be better. They had 2 first-round draft picks. They picked up the edge rusher, Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama, to go along with C.J. Stroud, Ohio State. So I'm telling you right now, this is a team that is poised to go, and they've got a ton of value on the line. Again, go over to betus.com. Use offer code VSX125. I'm going to double up your deposit 125%. You give me $100, I'll walk you over to the window with $225. Only bet in your legal jurisdictions, 21 and over, where restricted. And if you need some help, please do get it. So again, loud and clear. Rotation number 1204. That's my pick to win the division. Plus 725, the long dog, Houston Texans. Mark, any shout-outs before I let you go? Thank you so much again for stopping by. Can't wait to have you on again during the regular season. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. You got me anytime you need me, JB, whether I'm in town or out of town. I will come on your show. I love talking. I love what you're doing, man. Keep up the good work. I just want to send a big shout-out, man, as we wrap it up. Down in Houston, Texans, this friend of mine, Brevin Jordan. Be on the lookout for him. I think he'll have a breakout season. He is a tight end down in Houston, former Bishop Gorman High School. He went to Miami. I know his mom. I know him really well. Coached him when he was younger, and I hope he makes
That's what I'm talking about.
This year, the kid can play. Brevin Jordan, be on the lookout for him.
Brevin Jordan, Houston Texans. Shout out Bishop Gorman producing that NFL talent. Las Vegas sending players to the NFL to bring home the grease for the bettors here in town and around the world. Thank you so much, Mark, for dropping his name and making sure that he is heard here in Las Vegas. When I come back, we're going to be jumping into the AFC East. Got my main man, Daniel Cameron from DSportsLedger, one of the top sports handicappers in the game right now. Big time on Instagram. And most importantly, we're going to tell you where the cash is in the AFC East. So you guys stay tuned. Keep it locked here. JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. Go to my website, VegasScoreboardExpress.com, for all of my exclusive releases, new shows, deals, daily, everything you need to put the cash in your pocket. So again, keep it locked. 107.1 KSHP, VSX Digital Sports Networks, dropping grease, NFL divisions. Who's going to win it? Who's going to put the cash in your pocket? Keep it locked, and let's get the money.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JB the Ticket. Vegas Scoreboard Express, giving you that grease.
This football season, stay in the game with Fubo TV. Over 100 live channels, including NFL Network, NBA TV, and FS1. Don't miss any of the action. Get 7 days free on us at VegasScoreboardExpress.com. Don't get cabled, get Fubo TV.
Keep it locked with your boy on the ones and twos. Going in on the wheels of steel.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball,
This is it. The cocaine and the crack. They all sound the same to me. There's a war going on outside. No man is safe from. Scoreboard with rainbow. That's how I'm living.
That's how we do it. That's just the way it is. That's the reason why I came to you.
Drink and women and money.
JB the Ticket back at you live, waking you up early in the morning every Saturday and Sunday. 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. Breaking down the grease right now, bringing him in on the line, my main man, Daniel Cameron. You can follow him over on Instagram at DSportsLedger. Been a long-time listener and a big-time winner here at VSX. Daniel, good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning, Las Vegas. How are you doing?
That's what I'm talking about. Saying hello to Las Vegas. Again, you guys can check out this young man over on Instagram at DSportsLedger, one of the young guns in the sports betting game, helping these young folks out here getting into the game, put money in their pocket, and you guys can get into the game and put money in your pocket over with our partners at BetUS. Go to betus.com in all of your legal jurisdictions and use offer code VSX125. I'm giving you a 125% bonus on your sign up, and make sure if you need some gambling help to get it. So let's jump into it, man. Talking about this AFC East. This is a division that you emailed me about to get on the list. Might as well jump into it. Rotation number 1001, the Buffalo Bills at plus 135. That's a pretty good value bet if you like Josh Allen.
And who wouldn't?
Well, I don't, because he's got beef with Stephon Diggs. And when you got beef and issues over the years with your number one receiver, I think that's one of the reasons why they weren't able to get over the hump. And then, unfortunately, they had the issue with Damar Hamlin passing out, but he did wake back up, even got an SB. Shout out Damar Hamlin. Thank God you got back up. But they had some really quirky things happen last year. But at plus 135 to win this division, I think there's a lot of value to be had there, because who else is better than them? New England isn't as dominant as they used to be. The Jets are bringing in a new quarterback. Same ownership, same game plan, same scheme. You got the Miami Dolphins. Shout out my main man, VJ Husky, over at Fox Sports Radio. Martin and VJ, you guys check him out here in Vegas. I'm not on Saturday evenings, but he's still dropping grease, 4 to 7 p.m. Going to be having him come in next week, hopefully, to talk some AFC East, to break down some Miami Dolphins specifically. But then you round it out again, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, New York Jets. How can the Buffalo Bills maintain dominance over this division when you've got guys like Josh Allen on the defensive side of the ball? You should have Von Miller coming back from injury. I'm thinking that they should be poised to at least win 10 games, but I'm still not sold on them dominating this division. If they win it, you can still put some cash in your pocket at plus 135. But what do you see? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, first off, I would take that plus 135. Second off, the reason that they can continue the dominance that they have is because the Bills have continuously, when you look back when the Patriots were, they had Tom Brady and they're super successful, a lot of people didn't know a lot of the players' names. They always wondered, why are the Patriots so good? Why is it so good? Well, it's the same reason why the Bills are becoming so good. It's because the Bills are building depth. These other teams, yes, they have all these different superstar rosters as far as their starters, but if any of them goes down, they've got no one behind them. And the Bills, they have continuously, the last few years, just built depth and competition and competition.
Very important. Again, you guys are listening to my main man, Daniel Cameron, sports handicapper. Where you at? I think you're out somewhere in Arizona, man. You might be living out in Sedona or something crazy like that, man.
I am in Sedona.
There you go. I told you I got a great guess. Betting against me will empty your pockets. Will empty your pockets. You know what time it is. Again, you guys are listening to him, though. He's a great young man. I always encourage him. He's always coming on, listening to the show, commenting. And you made some great points about the depth of the Buffalo Bills. Now, let's talk about from the offensive side of the ball. You know, the Buffalo Bills have not been able to really dominate teams as you would see late in the season. They always get there, but then that offense gets stagnant. I saw it a lot with Josh Allen. Tons of 3-and-outs, couple of interceptions. And August 12th, the Colts play the Bills and the preseason. August 12th at 10 a.m., an early game, just to give you guys a little bit of talk on that. But again, talking about that offensive side of the ball, how are they going to step up? You got James Cook at running back. You got Latavius Murray. They've got that running back round robin. You got Kyle Allen, another quarterback in the back in the wings, came out of Houston. He's working to try to get up there. But it's just not a team that I'm seeing. Look, at this point, it's AFC Championship or bust, okay? If you're the Buffalo Bills and you go anywhere less than the AFC Championship game this season, I think they're going to start making some moves. I know you're talking about building depth, but one of the things about that is you also build trade bait if that depth is not successful. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing. When you have depth, then you're able to trade some guys. I mean, and so you can kind of keep that rebuilding going constantly. And you're not like hurting your team too much or very much at all. That's something that, remember, again, I go back to Bill Belichick. What did everyone always said about him, right? Mm-hmm. He trades a guy 1 year before, 1 year before he should be traded.
Right.
He doesn't wait till the end. So it's the same thing when you have the depth. then okay, if you need to make those moves, you can make those moves. If we have to move off of Stephon Diggs, but the thing is, Stephon Diggs, he's a competitor. I think it's blown a little bit out of proportion. Once the season starts, once he gets in there, he's going to give it his all again. He's going to be right back there.
Regular season wins over at BetUS. Rotation numbers 1291 through 1308 are for the Buffalo Bills. A lot of value to be made here on the line. I'm thinking the Buffalo Bills could win 10 games. Rotation number 1301, that is going to be worth plus 550. Got some great prop bets over at BetUS. These guys are absolutely excellent, dropping opportunities for you to make money here. Now, this is for the exact season wins. I'm seeing the Buffalo Bills as a 10-win team. Do you concur? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think they win 12. Personally, that's what I think they win 12.
And that's going to get you 550 as well. So the only way to crack it is if they move up into that 13 bracket and really dominate during the season. Rotation number 1304 will get you plus 600. Let's move along in that AFC East, talking about the New York Jets. Rotation number 1002 at plus 225 to win that division. That's a lot of grease for Aaron Rodgers. Who in the world is he going to throw to? Haven't heard too much about it in the offseason. Now that they're moving into camp, Robert Saleh is trying to keep that team from completely imploding. They've also had several quarterback issues over the last couple of years. You had this guy, what was the one kid? Not Matt Barkley. All these USC guys kept passing through there. Sam Darnold. You just had the other kid last year that stunk it up. These guys are so bad. I don't even want to use mental space to remember their names, but you did bring in the top free agent for last year. Everybody wanted him, Aaron Rodgers. But as I mentioned before, it just seems like the Jets love Aaron Rodgers. Don't get it wrong what I'm about to say, but these guys are always shopping at the Green Bay Packers swap meet and pawn shop for quarterbacks. They did the same thing with Brett Favre. It must be some sort of inside connection there. The Jets at rotation number 1002 to win the AFC East at plus 225. Even though I'm a Jets fan and would love to see them do it, I don't see it happening. But talk to me and tell me, does Aaron Rodgers have that much of an impact for a team that has done absolutely nothing over the past few seasons and has maintained a cellar dweller? Go ahead.
No. He's still a great quarterback, but he's clearly declining, on a steady decline. But also, he's got all the same receivers he had. I don't know why he just decided to bring all those guys with him when he said he wanted new guys. The Jets have a great defense. But again, you look at the Jets and you go, if this guy goes down, who's behind him? They have almost no depth. And that's where we get to in the season. They get a couple injuries, then what can Aaron Rodgers do?
That's my whole point.
Back on a really, really terrible team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you look at a lot of these quarterbacks, especially that were coming out after Tom Brady, they were like, well, who's next? Who's going to carry the league? Everybody looked over at Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers likes to live in tents. He likes to go out in the middle of the woods. He likes to drink that ayahuasca. You know what I mean? You don't know if this guy's even going to show up to the game and be on the same planet with the team. So I'm just going to move off of the Jets. I'm not going to give him too much grease. I'm just worried about him. Like I said before, anytime you bet the house on an older quarterback, not named Tom Brady, I haven't seen anyone ever win a Super Bowl that way.
Hey,
I'm just saying. And at plus 225, I don't even think you can get a division win. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're not winning the division.
Let's move along then. Rotation number 1003, the Miami Dolphins again. Shout out my main man, VJ Husky, Fox Sports Radio. This is the team he rides or dies with. And they're plus 300 on the money line to win the division over at BetUS. Again, go to betus.com and all your legal jurisdictions and use offer code VSX125. That's for Vegas Scoreboard Express. That is all you haters on Instagram with my hashtag. I don't wear bikinis. VSX has nothing to do with swimsuit editions. It's all money, all sports, no bull. Rotation number 1003, the Miami Dolphins plus 300. Tua Tagovailoa. This guy's always on his back with concussions. Brain coming out of his ears, man, and these guys are still trying to start him. They pumped him up in the weight room, and they said he's going to be the guy to get us over the hump. They picked up Tyreek Hill. They've got a lot of players, a lot of guys that they think are going to make them the winners. Again, shout out VJ. But I got to let you know, VJ, I don't see it. It's going to be between the Miami Dolphins or the Buffalo Bills. And if I had to put my money on it, again, that rotation number 1001, Buffalo Bills plus 135. But the Miami Dolphins are knocking on the door. We did see them make some strong comebacks last year. Okay, Teddy Bridgewater kept them relevant. And they were sniffing around the playoffs. Didn't quite get in, but they were some money line dogs that the Miami Dolphins were able to get for you. But will it be enough this year in 2023, 2024 to put that plus 300 in your pocket to win the division? Go ahead, Daniel.
I don't think so. I take some heat for this, but since he came out into the league, I've always called him Tua trash. Sorry.
Oh, my God. Woo! VJ's going to get on you for that one. Go ahead.
Again, the coach is lifting him up. The coach there, he's really smart, young guy. He's one of those guys that 80% of the time I'd rather have him than most coaches in the NFL, and then 20% of the time he makes some of the most boneheaded decisions I've seen. But, I think he's a great coach overall. Don't get me wrong. I think he's one of the better coaches in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I think he props up Tua, and then Tua's got all this talent around him as well. But eventually you got to take the blinders off and understand that it's still Tua trash. Sorry.
Right. Mike McDaniel, man. I'm telling you. Woo! Daniel Cameron is going in on you again. You guys can follow him over on Instagram at DSportsLedger. These young guys ain't playing, man. They telling you what time it is, telling you where to put the cash in your pocket, rounding out the AFC East division. And again, you guys are going to want to stay tuned here in Las Vegas and around the world listening to KSHP.com. You might have thought I forgot, but I didn't. It's Sunday Baseball with Scotty Beam 'em up Webb right after I finish up here with Daniel Cameron. Again, Daniel, thank you so much for stopping by the big board. Let's round it out. We mentioned him. The OG coach, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots, rotation number 1004 at plus 750. Now, they picked up Juju Smith-Schuster. They're trying to figure out if Mac Jones can be the Mac. But most importantly, what is going on with that defense? The New England defense has been good, but it's not been great. And that offense hasn't been great, and it needs to get better at plus 750. Rotation number 1004, the New England Patriots at the bottom of the rotation. Do you think they can move it to the top? Go ahead.
Again, if I'm not picking those other teams, I'm not picking the Patriots. Just based on their quarterback, based on their defensive line. Do you ever really want to count out Belichick? Not really.
Well, yeah, because I counted about last year. He wasn't winning that much money. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But they could get second or third in the division, maybe even second in the division.
Second or third ain't going to get you paid. My main man, Daniel Cameron, thank you so much for stopping by the big board. Love the young energy. Any shout-outs before I let you go? Anything you want to promote? Go ahead.
Yeah, just check me out on Instagram, DSportsLedger. My website, DanielSportsLedger.store. And thank you so much for having me. Good luck, Las Vegas. And just a token thing I always say, let's make some money. Let's have some fun doing it.
That's what I'm talking about. My main man, Daniel Cameron, DS Sports Ledger, out in Sedona, Arizona. You know I'm national with it, bringing all the grease here to Las Vegas. For all my listeners here locally, you guys can watch these teams and these games on a Fubo TV. Go over to FuboTV.com/JB, giving you 15% off. When I get back from this short commercial break, going to give you those Sunday baseball picks to put the cash in your pocket with Scotty Beam 'em up Webb from the East Coast Sports Investors and MLBDaily.com. Stay tuned and get the money.
This football season, stay in the game with Fubo TV. Over 100 live channels, including NFL Network, NBA TV, and FS1. Don't miss any of the action. Get 7 days free on us at VegasScoreboardExpress.com. Don't get cabled. Get Fubo TV.
STN Sports is the only sports betting app you need this season. STN Sports has it all. In-play betting, mobile parlay cards, the Play Plus card to fund and withdraw from anywhere in Nevada, and the latest lines on every game. STN Sports even lets you earn rewards on every bet. Safe and easy betting from your phone or tablet. Go to StationCasinoSports.com or sign up at any Station Casino, Fiesta Wildfire, or the El Cortez. Details at the sportsbooks.
JB the Ticket Vegas Scoreboard Express back at you live here. KSHP 107.1 FM. Want to give a shout out to my main man, Ron Thirdtown Best Bets. Got the day off, making it happen for you. Doing all the research that he needs to come back strong next week. And with me on the line, I've got him here with you. Scotty, beam him up, Webb from the East Coast. Sports investors in MLBDaily.com to drop those baseball picks for you today and talk a little bit of football early before this preseason and Hall of Fame game. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, JB. Glad to be on. I'm doing great.
So glad to have you back. Again, you guys follow Scotty over on the social medias at Webby20MLB. It has been an eventful morning. Again, had my main man Mark Hayes on, station director and former football player here in Las Vegas at UNLV, talking about the AFC South. And then you just heard the young guy, young gun Daniel Cameron over at DSportsLedger. You can follow him on Instagram at DSportsLedger, breaking down his thoughts on the AFC East. Always love getting the opinions of those young guys, man. They are very short on words, but long on money, always winning. I see them posting their tickets very, very often. But right now, you guys are tuned into Scotty Beam Him Up Webb, our resident baseball player, breaking down the games that are on the line today. Going to be finishing out the show with you, Scotty. Again, thank you so much for coming in. Anything that you've seen in the baseball world after the All-Star break that fans should know about, and then we'll get right into this action. Go ahead.
I think it's just be careful, right? I mean, some of these teams out there, they are trying to make playoff runs. They haven't made the trades yet. The trade deadline's August 1st, so I think you're going to see some activity this week. And then I think you just got to be careful who the buyers and sellers are, because you want to be betting on buyers and you want to be betting against sellers. So just be careful what you're trying to get into.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's jump right into it. Scotty, beam him up, Webb, telling you that trade deadline, interleague play, interesting play. The San Diego Padres. Man, what a comeback they've had this season. Rotation number 921. The Padres out in D-Town in Detroit versus rotation number 922. The Detroit Tigers are going to be putting Alex Faedo on the mound. And for San Diego, it's going to be Joe Musgrove. But let's talk about that record, man. 48-51. Give credit where credit is due. San Diego has been clawing and fighting their way back up in the standings. 23-28 on the road. And Detroit still pretty respectable. Only 10 games under 500 at 44-54. So it's an interesting lineup today. The total is 8.5 runs. You got Detroit as a big home dog, though, at plus 195. Like those home dogs. But what say ye, Scotty? Go ahead.
Well, Faedo pitched one time since coming off the disabled list, and it wasn't a very good start. In his last two starts, he's given up 13 runs in his last two starts. So I don't think I want to support him. And if you're going to play Musgrove, obviously you got to play these guys on the run line. And I think San Diego's in a good spot here in a sense that they came off the series against Toronto that they absolutely had to win, and they did. And now they're playing Detroit, and they're beating them too. What's good about Detroit, San Diego is, you've got the four guys that carry that team, or are supposed to carry that team, and right now they are. So Tatis and Soto and Machado and Bogarts, those guys are all hitting. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to play San Diego, today's a good day to play them. You play them on the run line because Musgrove also hasn't had a bad start in quite a while. Not that I think he's going to, but I think that he's going to continue to pitch well again against the Detroit.
Talking about taking those San Diego Padres. Rotation number 921. Moving into another game that is in the American League. Talking about these New York Yankees. These guys have been a little bit disappointing, but I like who they have on the mound today. They've got Severino back. You know, I'm a stickler for my New York guys going up against the Kansas City Royals. Rotation number 911. Kansas City Royals plus 170. They've got Jordan Lyles on the mound. He's not a bad pitcher, but Severino for the Yankees. Rotation number 912. Yankees minus 200. Total in this game is 9.5. I'm thinking I might try to sneak another under in this game just because I like Severino starting. If he can give me 4 good innings and keep Kansas City under 3 runs for the first 5 innings, I think I've got a chance to go under for the whole game. But your thoughts? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I would probably play it the other way. Well, I should say I should switch pitchers with you.
Okay.
I think Severino I think Severino is in trouble.
I know, man. You always tell me that. You're like, JB, don't do it. Go ahead.
So Severino hasn't pitched very well most of this season. He's only made, he's only got I don't even think he's made 10 starts yet. Probably pretty close. But over those 10 starts, his averages of his numbers are in the lowest percentile in all of baseball.
Wow.
His strikeout rate is only 5.79, and you want to be a good strikeout pitcher, you need to be at 10. So he's not striking guys out, so making a lot of contact. And his bigger problem is he can't throw a strike, so he's walking guys. So guys are getting on base. Batting average against him is 357, and his whip rate's 209. That means 2 guys per 9 innings are getting on base every inning. So I think that gives Kansas City a fighting chance here. Now, Lyles is not a good pitcher when it comes to, team wins and losses. He's a minus $8 million. You keep betting on Lyles. But I would tell you that in terms of the pitching matchup, Lyles is the better pitcher. And the way the Yankees are hitting right now, the Yankees are not hitting. So that gives Lyles a fighting chance. So I like him as an underdog today, but if you really want to play this game, I think the smartest way to play it is the under, but because Severino probably won't last that long, and then you got the Yankees have to try to hit. So I think that number was like 9.5, something like that.
Yep, 9.5.
Under 9.5.
He likes the under.
Still get under 9.5, but I would do it the opposite way of what your thoughts were. I think Lyles holds down the Yankees, and Severino, who knows what he's going to do today.
Scotty, beam him up, Webb, East Coast Sports Investors, MLBDaily.com, always giving you grease. Let's talk about another game today, moving over to the American League. I like your hometown Tampa Bay Rays, 61 wins. I mean, these guys are still tearing up baseball. Had a skid or two. The last 10, 4-6. They're starting Taj Bradley today, rotation number 914. The Tampa Bay Rays are at home versus the Baltimore Orioles. These guys are right on top of them at 60-38, and they've got a better record in their last 10 games at 7-3. Again, rotation number 913, the Baltimore Orioles down in Tampa Bay today. Baltimore starting Tyler Wells on the mound at plus 120 Moneyline, again, versus your hometown Taj Bradley. So talk to me a little bit about this Tampa Bay team, because I think this is a game where both teams are matched up, and I'm just going to go with Baltimore as the road dog because I think they've got a pretty good shot at trying to get even and staying with Tampa Bay, which seems to be the team that they're trying to keep pace with. Go ahead.
I love it. Well, Baltimore passed Tampa Bay in the standings, so Baltimore is now the leader in the East. Now, not by very much, one game, but that takes a lot when you consider what Tampa Bay did or what they got off to a big start. So they've fallen back quite a bit. The pitching has dropped off for Tampa Bay, and they're hitting. They're not hitting nearly like what they used to hit like. So I mean, they were like the Atlanta Braves. So, but they're not like that anymore. They're not hitting that way. So then you think this particular matchup, you've got Bradley on the mound, and everybody goes out and watches him pitch, and he goes and throws 98 miles an hour and moves the ball all over the place, and he's a great pitcher, but he's young, and because he's young, he's been susceptible to several things. One, he walks too many guys, but lately he's been hitting the plate. So his batting average against is 342, and his whip rate's almost 2 per inning. So that's not good, and that puts Baltimore right in the line. And Wells' last start, he's a sneaky good pitcher. His last start, though, was really bad. So I expect him to pitch pretty well today, and I don't think I mind that Baltimore play as a dog at all.
Well, I'm telling you, that Baltimore dog play is the play. That should be able to put some cash in your pocket. Again, you're talking to JB the Ticket and my main man, Scotty, beam him up, Webb from the East Coast Sports Investors. Again, Scotty, thank you so much for stopping by the big board today. Going to end out the show with you right here. Last game that I'm going to be picking for Major League Baseball. You've told me to keep them on my list. Talking about the Atlanta Braves going back to the National League now. Rotation number 907. The Atlanta Braves on the road today. The favorite, minus 165. Got Bryce Elder on the mound. A lot of high totals in baseball. A lot of big scores. I haven't seen a total over under 7.5 for most of the season. This is another big total at 9.5 going up against the Milwaukee Brewers, who are no slouch at 55 and 44 and 7-3 in their last 10, plus 140 on the money line with Julio Teheran on the mound. Talk to me about this game. Do you think that the Milwaukee Brewers can maybe steal a win here from Atlanta? Go ahead. Who are 4-6 in their last 10, by the way.
Yeah, Milwaukee stole a deal last night, right? They won. I think it was 4-3, or maybe it was 5-4. No, it's 4-3 because it stayed under the number. And then today you've got Elder, who's pitched very well for Atlanta all year until the last few starts. And he's a younger guy. He's not a hard thrower, so he has to throw strikes. And he's got to get guys, and he's just not doing it. His strikeout rate's 4.34, which is the lowest starting strikeout percentage rate of all the pitchers today. And his walk rate is 5.30. So he's putting more guys on base than he's striking out. That's not good. Batting average against him 300. That's not good. So then you flip it over to Teheran, and Teheran is a guy that used to pitch for the Braves several years ago, and he's kind of restructured or trying to get his career back. He started out pretty well, and his last 2 or 3 starts have been duds. So I can see why the number is 10-11 run line. These guys are going to give up some runs because both these two teams can hit. So I don't know. I guess if I was going to play this game, I would play it over the 10 runs. I think they're going to score more than that.
JB the Ticket, my main man, Scotty. Beam him up, Webb, from the East Coast Sports Investors. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the big board today. Going to be bringing you guys back. Today is actually one of the first times that we were on the air many years ago on KSHP, Vegas Scoreboard Express.com. This used to be our intro song. Getting ready to sign off with you guys. You know what time it is. Waking you up early in the morning every single Saturday and Sunday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. here on KSHP AM 1400 107.1. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Rocking with the boss of the big board. I'm going to leave you here. Get to the big board, get to the window, and get some money.
You're listening to the boss of the big board. Searching for something to say. JB the Ticket. Vegas Scoreboard Express. Giving up, I close my eyes. Giving you that green.